Welcome everybody to the Broken Wings Racing League, presented by ANSE3D. We're here at Mount Panorama for round 2 of the GT3 Racing League. It's just Noah Hodgkinson in the wall there, going up the mountain there. We're about to get to qualifying. We'll be underway in just under 5 minutes. We have a pretty stacked house here, as we have 28 drivers on the grid that are going out there to do their best. So far, we have Patrick Gannon in P1 right now in practice with the 202. Almost even. It's going to be a tough one to beat. Trey Mistack just behind him with the 202.2. Paolo Langer with the 202.3. And Eddie Layton. A lot of 202s going all the way down to... Oh, Joey Jr. just goes faster into P4 with that move. But that's all the way to P9. Everyone in the 202s to 1 to P9. That's pretty cool. Pretty good to see. And then after that, we have Tyler Anderson with a 203, 5. And not a whole bunch of people in the 203 range, but just enough. I got about 5 there. And then going on to the 204s. A lot of the field's going to be sitting in that race pace of about a 204. So we're going to have ourselves a good race. A lot of close driving. Just see what happens. And taking a look at the grid here. And see if there's anyone that is new. Looks like everybody from last week is still here. Maybe Gary Schilling. I think Gary Schilling was a new driver added to this this round. And Ricky Burrows. I think that's a new driver as well. Then Sean Hamilton. I don't think I saw Sean Hamilton there last week or 2 weeks ago when we started the season. Oh, maybe we did. We did. I did see the student driver livery. Sean was there. I believe Chris Lambeth has also participated. A lot of our fast boys are sitting in the pits right now, or even going into the pits with Trey Mistack there. With 2 minutes left to go. Qualifying will start. Almost out of this one. Like we're going to be changing over. There's still a lot of drivers that are out there on the track. Austin J. McGill, is about 0.3 faster on this lap. So it'll be interesting to see if... Oh, that is a wall touch Definitely got some damage on that right rear quarter panel. And it's an immediate switch over to qualifying. Who will be the driver to take us first out? And it is Trey Mistack of Team Shake Stack. I remember that correctly. Ooh. Timothy Bray has also graced us with his presence. There's a lot of quick drivers that are going to be in this field. Not that there's not quick drivers, but a lot of people from last season that I've seen prove themselves on track as quick and determined. So I have a high IQ racing strategy going on. And hopefully Trey Mistack can give us a good show for his qualifying run. First one out there on the out lap. We have a lot of drivers still sitting in the pits. I always like the Lamborghini Huracan. Great roll bar camera on this vehicle. It's a little bit intrusive. You can't see the front that well, but, you know, it's a good overall camera placement. It just looks like he's getting a little heat into the tires as he's about to go for his push lap. And we'll jump on board when he does so. Into the final corner, the penultimate corner. He gets a good exit out of turn one. With some drivers out there in front of him on their out laps, I hope he doesn't catch any of them in the event of slowing him down. Does look like Timothy Bray ahead of him and David Gauntlet are also going to be respectable drivers, so I don't think they would be in the way, or even, you know, Trey being able to catch up to him once they get up to full pace, so his tires get more comfortable. Using all the available space on the left-hand side, barely scraping by, not touching the wall. We're going to see a lot of people make that mistake of actually touching the wall. To the downhill corkscrew we go. Looks like he has a nice exit there. And that is a 2.4 second gap to Timothy Bray. Don't think he's going to catch him, but it did come down awfully, 2 seconds from previously going up the hill. So maybe Timothy Bray wasn't pushing all that hard on his out lap. And Trey Mistack is going to be the first driver to take us across the board. So, of course, he's going to show up in P1. But it really depends on what we're going to see out of this driver on his lap times. We're looking at 2:02 evens for the pole position. As he crosses the line, he does a 2:02.5. Eddie Layton crosses the line, and he goes P2. Aubrey Kundal goes across the line, goes to P3. Ryan Avila crosses the line, and he goes to P4. Patrick Gannon across the line with a 2:02.3, takes P1 provisionally. We have Colin Luckers cross the line. He takes P4. Audrey Kondo goes to P5. Ryan Avila is in P6. Kyle Granger. Let's just go to a better view there. Kyle Granger in P7. Will Kofi in Kofi in P8. Chris Chitterling and P9. Todd Malik in P10. Tyler Anderson P11. Noah Hoskinson in P12. Joshua Grasso in P14. Some of the drivers just dropped down as somebody jumped up. Zachary Bryant in P15. Gary Schilling in P17, already in the pits. Paolo Langer sitting there in P18. Not where I'd expect him to be. He must have had a mistake there. As we have Alex Carver, who crosses the line, going to P2 of ANSE3D Racing. Presented by ANSE3D Racing. Here for the Broken Wing Racing League. And Carroll crosses the line and goes to P20. And with that said, we have Patrick Gannon, who's got 0.3 faster on this lap. And he is just coming down the hill. If he could keep this pace, he's going to solidify that P1 spot. We know he did it in practice. And there is a driver who is stepping out of the way of Charles Whedon. And he is still maintaining that 0.3 gap. And there's another driver who jumps out of the way. That could have been Alex Carver or Joey Jr. I'm not sure which one is behind that wheel. They have the same livery. Ryan Avila crosses the line to get a P6 from Aubrey Hondel. Patrick Gannon crosses the line and does 2:01.777. Wow! That is a time, and a time that is going to be hard fought to overtake, as our provisional leader, Patrick Gannon, has just put it into the 2:01s. No driver in practice did that. And we have Eddie Layton, who's about to shave off 0.3 of his time, providing he continues to push and keep this negative delta going. Joey Jr. crosses the line, and he goes to P7. Paolo Langer crosses the line, and he goes to P4, overtaking Eddie Layton by 1 position. But they are separated by about 1/10. And with Eddie Layton now at 0.4 negative on his delta, we're going to be seeing him cross the line into P3, possibly P2. Alex Carver is definitely not on a good lap there, as he actually goes into the pits and to reset. And Trey Mistack is just ahead of Eddie Layton, but he's 2.6 seconds faster. This cannot be right. 2.6 seconds faster. If he crosses the line and takes P1, I'm going to be in shock and awe, because it does not make sense. He must have cut a corner to gain that much of a track advantage. But maybe he didn't. He stays P2. And that doesn't... No, that was... Yes, that was not it. Eddie Layton crosses the line, overtakes Paolo Langer just by 1/10, not even 1/10, a couple hundredths of a second at that pace. That's too bad. Noah Hodgkinson puts it into P4 with a 2:02.7. What a fantastic drive from him. We have Miller Darajo, car number 12. Car number 120 in 12th position of ANSE3D Racing. And it's a good position for him. Anyone else that's shaking things up in the order? We have Austin McGill in P14. Paolo Langer overtakes Noah Hoskinson for P4 with a 2:02.4. Ricky Burrows is in P28. Gary Schilling is in P27. Charles Whedon's in P26. Andrew Korostecki is in P25. David Gauntlet is in P24. Zachary Bryant in 23. Eric Rodriguez in P22. And Chris Lambeth in P21. Timothy Bray is in P20. Odd placement for Timothy Bray. He must be warming up here. Todd Malik is in P19. Craig Carroll has gone up 2 positions from the last time I announced for that. Steve McAllister and Sean Hamilton are the only drivers who have not set a time just yet. Oop. And that is the end of qualifying. And Trey Mistak is not going to be able to get another chance. And there goes Aubrey into the pit lane. Joey Jr. still pushing. He's got enough time to do so. A couple more drivers are still pushing. David Gauntlett, Andrew Korsecki, Timothy Bray, and possibly Colin Luckhurst, who might have crossed the line before things were done. Will Kofi puts in a fantastic lap, goes to P11 with the 2:03.1. And Timothy Bray is got a negative 1.2 on his delta. When he crosses the line from P20, he's going to drop down quite a bit. Or jump up, drop down. Who's to say? P10 for Timothy Bray. Joey Jr. goes faster than Noah Hodgkinson for P5. Overtakes him and Eddie Layton, who were both on that provisional P5. Patrick Gannon. Nobody beat Patrick Gannon. I think it's Andrew Korsecki who's still out there on track. Really doesn't have another chance to make a lap happen. But Patrick Gannon got him at P1. Trey Mistak's P2. Alex Carver P3. Paolo Langer P4. Joey Jr. P5. Noah Hoskinson P6. Eddie Layton P7. Colin Luckhurst in P8. Aubrey Condell in P9. Timothy Bray in P10. Ryan Avila in P11. Will Kofi in P12. Joshua Grasso in P13. Miller Darajo in P14. Tyler Anderson in P15. Austin McGill in P16. Kyle Granger in P18. Chris Schitterling in P18. Yeah. Okay. Craig Carroll in P19. Math is hard, folks. Todd Malik in P20. Eric Rodriguez in P21. Andrew Korsecki's in 22. Possibly jumps up a little bit, but we got 5 seconds left on the clock. I think it's just going to shift over. He's just getting some more practice in, more than likely. Chris Lambeth is in P23. Zachary Bryan is in 24. David Gauntlett in P25. Charles Whedon in 26. Gary Schilling is in 27. John Hamilton's 28. Ricky Burrows is in 29. And Steve McAllister rounding out the top 30. Third drivers on the grid is Steve McAllister. And there you have it, folks. We're going to be having ourselves a 45-minute race here at Mount Panorama, brought to you by ANSE3D Racing. And this is round 2 of the Broken Wings Racing League's GT3 series. If you feel like you want to participate, but don't have all the time in the world to do so, you can still show up for one race or 2 races. It's almost every Sunday at the same time, 9:10 Eastern Standard Time is when the qualifying starts. Followed by Tuesdays is the F4 League. You want to join that as well. Sounds like I'm... Oh, that's why. And we're about to be underway, folks. What is happening? Trey misstack did not stack up on the grid. Sorry for that one, folks. I was really hoping to use that, but I am in shock. I don't understand what's happening, but Trey misstack did not go to the grid. So it's going to be Patrick Gannon on the front row by himself, followed by Alex Carver. In P3, Paolo Langer in P4, Joey Jr. in P5. So is it Alex Carver and Joey Jr.'s Team ANSE? There's more than one of those on the grid, but okay.
Green flag, green flag.
And a lot of things are already changing. Oh. As the top three pole position, Paolo Langer goes back one. Joshua Grosso going 2x2. And keeps the position in P11 right now. And nobody scuffed the walls just yet. Down into the corkscrew we go. Or somebody is already off into the grass. They touched the grass a little bit. Not by much, but that is definitely going to cost them. And going right back to the start. Leader here is Patrick Gannon, who leads comfortably to Alex Carver and Joey Jr. of ANSE Racing just behind him, with Paolo Langer also pushing. Was P3 down to P4. And that is one magnificent McLaren, one of the few on the grid of Rhina Villa in P9. Not a lot has changed from lap 1 to 2. We knew that there was going to be a lot of close racing, a lot of the same pace. And one of the few ways to make it around here is wait for a mistake by another driver, and that seems to be the case as it is right now. No one's made any changes to the grid order. And there goes Todd. That's Kyle Granger. Oh no, that's several drivers off right there. Yikes. As Kyle Granger tries to move out of the way. And that's a lot of drivers. Andrew Korstecki is also involved in that. And there goes Craig Carroll, also involved in that. David Gauntlet, also hurt by this incident that happened at the top of Corkscrew. And you don't want to see that. Collateral damage is the name of the game when it comes to being at the top of the mountain when a wreck occurs. Got David Gauntlet here, who is P26 at the moment. He was P21, but he's going to be dropping down. And Austin McGill just had a spin. Possibly had a spin. Take a look back here. Yeah. And that is unfortunate. Austin McGill goes to P19 from that incident. It sounds like a vortex tube here as these drivers are going into turn 2. Oh no, there's a driver just up ahead. Is that Colin Luckhurst? Able to keep it back on track and not avoids an entire incident occurring right there. Just went a little wide. But not much can happen in such a tight area of the track. No overtaking there. But is he going to be overtaken now? These drivers are caught up on that. Ordered Ryan Avila, the last driver in the back of this pack here, as Timothy Bray might try to have a go at Eddie Layton. And slots back in. That is a lot of fast drivers, all separated. Just ever so. And here we have that. That is Eddie Layton right there in the background trying to make a move ever so slightly, but holds off. You can just see how close they are getting to that wall as they make their way up the hill. And Noah, oh no, he's going to have to brace. And that is Colin Luckhurst getting out of the way. And thankfully so, as Noah had to hope for the best in that moment in time as he was going into the corkscrew with the driver who did not have control of his car. That is a sweaty hands moment. And still we sit with Patrick Gannon in P1. Alex Carver 1 second behind in P2. Joey Jr. in P3. And Paolo Langer in P4. Noah Hodgkinson following shortly behind by 4 seconds in P5. Eddie Layton right behind. And Timothy Bray in P7. Followed by Audrey Condal and Joshua Grasso. So this little train sandwich is sandwiched by 2 drivers on the same team. Don't know the team name. Ryan Avila goes into the pit lane. As well as, ooh, Chris Lambeth has a lot of damage on that car. And we've seen a couple drivers already make some mistakes here. Going into this, yep, and the rear is gone, and he is just trying to keep it. Oh, and there's another driver trying to avoid him. And good avoidance there. Just gets back on track when it is safe and necessary to do so. And Timothy Bray, one of those drivers who started higher up in the grid and was able to gain 3 positions so far. Let's see if he can't make up any more. Was P10, now he's P7. Oh! And I spoke too soon. Noah Hodgkinson is into the wall and got tapped slightly on exit from another driver. That puts him down to P14 from P5. Ah, yikes. You hate to see it, folks. Not like that. And that puts all these drivers that were behind him just one spot up. So we got Eddie Layton in P5, Timothy Bray going to P6, Joshua Grosso in P7, Aubrey Condall in P8, and car number 12, car number 120 of Miller Duraggio in P9, with Will Kofi rounding out the top 10. Hope to see some action coming out of these drivers as they try to make up some spots. Tripped a fuse. Oh, Trey, that is terrible. So Trey Mistak, who was in P2, had power failure occur. As a result, he is no longer racing with us. That's unfortunate. Ad for Flex Seal. We've got a lot of drivers repping the ANSE3D livery for that BMW, so I am not sure who's on whose team here. I think it is Joey Jr. and Alex Carver, and then we got Miller here who's just repping it as well because he likes it. You can only have 2 drivers per team, so interesting livery choice. Right now, the race pace of most of the drivers on the grid is a 2:03 even. Timothy Bray did a 2:02.9 as of last lap, so he's definitely got the pace. He's only got one driver ahead of him before he gets this clean air. Maybe take the fight back up to the Paolo Langer, who's sitting in P4. And this little train just split slightly. We have Aubrey leading the next little section of it, as I believe that's Tyler Eric Rodriguez in the background there, hopping into screen. It's the last driver to be in this little train. And wow, it's insane how close Miller really is there. Oh, it's not Eric Rodriguez, it's Tyler Anderson, P11. Quite confusing when they switch around like this. And if it looks like you're seeing a lot of BMWs, it really is. Most people on the grid are repping the BMW in the top 10, at least. From P1 to P10, it's all BMWs with the exception of P7 and P5, a Mercedes and a Porsche. That's definitely going to see some usage. Maybe they know something about the BMW that we don't. It is really fast here. And up there on the timing sheet, when you're looking at the drivers as they scroll through, that LL just means last lap. That's the last lap that they are timed on. When it's green, it means they've improved upon their best time. And when it's purple, you've just seen the fastest driver on the track. So we have Will Kofi watching this move happen as Miller and Aubrey go side by side. And a move he tried to make happen, but was not there. Timothy Bray, Joshua Grosso just changed positions. Take a look back real quick. Whoa! And they say you can't pass on the hill, but look at that. Joshua Grosso making a move on Timothy Bray. Maybe caught sleeping or just hit the wall, possibly. We didn't see further back, but good job for Joshua as he goes to P6. Now here's the driver you can see some consistency out of. Paulo Langer has been on the rear bumper of Joey Jr. for this entire race. They're separated by 3/10 on the last lap. Joey Jr. is not faster by that much, and yet he's still able to maintain that position. And we could see some interesting things shake up as Joey Jr. and Powell Langer are about to approach Craig Carroll, who's down a lap. Some people are already pulling off their pit strategy and have gone into the pit lanes. Some of the drivers in the back of the grid. It may be beneficial to them as somebody just tapped the wall slightly. Oh, and Craig Carroll's letting them by. So that has not become an issue. And Paulo Langer hits the wall, exiting. Now, they may not have the same setup. That could be the deciding factor on whether or not he's going to be able to get by. As he gained almost nothing from sitting in the draft there. Really just goes to show you, just BMW versus BMW, not a whole lot's going to make a difference. There's some damage there. It's Will Kofi, Tyler Anderson are battling. Ooh. And Patrick Gannon and Alex Carver are side by side going into the exiting turn 1. Into turn 2 they go. Patrick Gannon has the inside line, but is that going to be enough? Alex Carver can brake a little later, and he keeps it. into P1. Into words. Tries to go side by side with him again. Up the mountain they go. He's slotted back in. They're separated by nothing here. Is it going to happen again? That's the real question. It probably took him a while to set up that move. He was unable to overtake Patrick Gannon of Team Upstate. And little by little, he's gaining. But again, it's just not enough. Such a long straight and unable to make an overtake happen. He's just really going to have to wait for a slip-up. That might have been the slip-up he was looking for. But he challenged him into turn one. Is he going to challenge him into turn one again? Only separated by 2/10 here. The battle for the lead is on, and no. And going on board with another driver here. Al Langer also just sitting there behind Joey Jr. still. Nothing's changed from that. Joshua Grasso separated by 8/10 with Timothy Bray. 3/10 for Matty Layton just ahead of him, P5. Joshua Grasso going to be able to make anything happen here. He did pass a driver in this very sector many laps ago. But it's just been all about a mistake that occurs. Some of these drivers going a little too wide for my comfort. And that sounded like Timothy Bray just hit the wall ever so slightly. And he was 3/10 separated by Eddie Layton, and now he's 6/10. I mean, he's gaining a little bit here through the straight in the draft, but something definitely happened there for Joshua Grasso. Lost a little bit of time, unable to make a move in the final sector. That's where you definitely want to at least try to set up the attack. And Will Kofi from P11 has gone into the pit lane. That's going to be Eric Rodriguez taking a position, as well as Noah Hoskinson, Todd Malik, possibly Zachary Bryant as well, Chris Chitterling, Ryan Avila, who was sitting comfortably up at the top, had himself an incident of some sort. He started higher than P17. I think at P9, so that's unfortunate for him. That's Kyle Granger there. Overtaking Ricky Burrows for P24. Could this be the moment that Paolo Langer's looking for? He's finally closer than he's ever been to Joey Jr. Down the back straight we go. Can he make something happen in this braking zone? He lives. I think it was a little bit much of a limit. Oh, look at that. Joey Jr. is going to the pit lane. And Paolo Langer's going to be able to just breeze on by for P3. But will he be able to hold on to it? That will be interesting to see. Joey Jr., who was P3, is going to drop down the charts for sure, but really comes into where is he going to slot in after he jumps back out on track. That would be really interesting to see as we are already halfway through this race. We have Eric Rodriguez in the P10. Noah Hoskinson is going into the pit lane right now. Eddie Layton and Joshua Grosso are finally taking that battle into... Oh. A little bit of a different angle. Looked like Joshua Grosso might have been able to overtake. Just an odd angle. That was not actually what's happening. On board with Audrey Condal, who's a... Whoa! Oh! Oh! Oh no. Oh no. Yikes. That was not my fault, folks. I didn't curse him just yet. I was just about to start talking. It's unfortunate what happened to that driver, but he definitely had the pace. He was neck and neck with the drivers just ahead. We're currently on screen as Joshua Grosso goes into the pit lane, serve his mandatory pit stop, as does another driver of Miller, Dorajo. Alex Carver has gone into the pit lane. Paolo Langer is still out there on track. Patrick Gannon is by himself. Alex Carver is losing a couple positions, as one would imagine, going to the pit lane, as others have not. Tyler Anderson stays out. Eric Rodriguez taking another spot. Joey Jr. is the real sensation here. Where's he going to slot next to the other drivers? Alex Carver is his teammate, and they are separated, and Ricky Burrows, a lap down, is not going to... Maybe is going to challenge this. Who knows? They're still side by side. And not so much anymore in that downhill section. But Joey Jr.'s P8, Alex Carver is P7. And by a good margin, too. 5.7 second gap. They were not that much of a gap before the pit lane. Before the pit stop. Where is Alex Carver and Patrick Gannon going to shake up here? That is the battle to see, as we have other drivers still opting to stay out and not go in the pit lane just yet to serve the mandatory pit stop. That is going to be 14 lap old tires for a lot of these drivers, as Noah Hodgkinson's gained some positions off of those drivers that are still in the pit lane. And Timothy Bray of Team Upstate in P5 as Eddie Layton goes into the pit lane, serve his mandatory pit stop. Timothy Bray extends his stint. He's going to continue to move on. That's going to get him P4, P3. Paolo Langer goes into the pit lane finally. He was P4. Timothy Bray now takes P1 provisionally, as Patrick Gannon has also gone into the pit lane. Now, where is... What? I am a bit confused. Alex Carver is not on the grid. Oh. Alex Carver went to P25. I don't know what to say, folks. That's really confounding. Oh, Steve McAllister has some right quarter panel damage. That is definitely one for the books. Timothy Bray going down. Oh, so I think it's P1 and P2 for Team Upstate right now. So it looks like, at least the livery. I am in a utter sense of disbelief and shock as Alex Carver, who was battling P1 in P2, is now at the back of the grid. That doesn't make any sense. Don't know what happened, but Joey Jr. is the lone ANSE3D driver in the team pushing for points. This would put him into P3 once Timothy Bray serves his mandatory pit stop. Is he doing that? He is doing that right now. So Patrick Gannon's going to retake the lead there for P1 as he crosses the line. And Paolo Langer is going to go to P2, who was battling Joey Jr., but overtook him in the pit lanes. And there you have it. A good pit strategy is the only IQ some of these drivers need. And there is Joey Jr. in the background, separated by 4.8 seconds. That's how much of a difference that pit stop must have been if he was separated by that much. Timothy Bray goes to P6 as Joshua Grasso overtakes P5. Eddie Layton just ahead. Then we can see the stack up as Tyler Anderson is there in P7, who's served his pit stop. Ricky Burrows looks like he's defending, but I don't think it's defending. I think he's going to let them by, as he does. Yeah, Tyler Anderson goes ahead, and Timothy Bray is on his outlap, so he's got to watch out just a little bit there. Quite the upset. Not sure what to make of it, but we've had a lot of the fast drivers just go to the wayside here, and I don't know why. Power outage. Power failure for one driver. The others, ambition over adhesion, maybe. Well, that's not. Oh, there we go. Oh, as I was saying that. Oh. Timothy Bray had a slide at the end of the downhill section. Let's Tyler Anderson by him. Ooh. That is not the sound you want to hear. Andrew Korostecki, Colin Luckhurst are battling it out here. P13. Colin Luckhurst overtakes Andrew Korostecki for that position. And Colin Luckhurst goes into pit lane. And Craig Carroll and Gary Schilling battling out for P20 and 21 with Patrick Gannon just behind, trying to overtake him. And he gets ahead, flashing his lights and acceptance to that, maybe. But one more driver who he's having to brake a little bit. He's on. Like, is he going to let me by? Possibly not. Doesn't look like it just yet. I mean, you'd think he would. And then he goes onto the curbing there to overtake a lapped car of Gary Schilling. And the battle between Gary and Craig can continue now that the P1 is made his move. Oh, and Eddie Layton and Joshua Grosso have switched places. Joshua Grosso into P4. Oh no. And in the background, that was Timothy Bray cutting a little too much of the grass on the exit of turn 1. Not much separates these drivers. It's 3/10. Wonder if Eddie Layton is going to be able to take the fight back to Joshua Grosso. We still have a couple laps remaining here in this session, so it's anyone's guess who's going to finally tape up to take that final P4 spot. But with a good defense, Joshua Grosso can definitely do that. Yeah, enough pace as they are separated by actually a full second. Wow. We're looking at the last lap of Joshua Grosso. He did a 2:04.1, and Eddie Layton did a 2:05 even. That being the case, I think that even though he's separated by a couple tenths right now 6 tenths, I think Joshua Grosso can extend himself a little bit more if he just continues to keep the pace. And hopes that Eddie Layton loses a little bit. Ooh. Just a slight kiss to the wall there. There's nothing too alarming. Like a rub. And if you're wondering what else is happening on the grid, nobody's this close to each other anymore after the pit lane, after the mandatory pit stop. Eddie Layton and Joshua Grosso are the only two drivers that have maintained pace with each other after the pit stop. And, you know, Sector 2 seems to be Eddie Layton's bread and butter is he is able to reel Joshua Grosso in, but not enough. After they get into the straight, Joshua Grosso is going to extend himself just ever so slightly and maintain that gap that he formed in Sector 1. Patrick Gannon still actually has one of the fastest. He has the fastest lap on the grid right now with 201.8. I mean, he came close to that in qualifying with a 201.777. So just 1/10 away from that qualifying lap. That is insanity from this driver, Patrick Gannon. He's separated by to P2 by 11 seconds. P3 is 18 seconds behind. And Andrew Korostecki and Steve McAllister are separated by 6/10, just like our other group we were just watching. Let's see if Andrew Korostecki is going to be able to make a move for P16. He's gaining on Steve. And the view from inside the cockpit on a Porsche is like nothing other. What a view. You can see a little bit of the back and a lot of the front. Still 6/10 separating these drivers. Where could Andrew pick up a couple of tenths? Maybe in the slipstream. And he's just not quite there just yet. But we'll jump back on board with him. Is Timothy Bray another driver who's been just trying to maintain good pace? Looks like he's been able to do that. He's back at the 202.5s. And his best lap actually was just this last lap he did. He's been reeling in Tyler Anderson ever since he let him pass when he had that slip up on his out lap. Timothy Bray within overtaking distance. Who's that in front of them? That's Miller and Gary Schilling. 18 and 23. They're going to slow. Ooh, what a interesting round. Oh, what is happening? Gary lets them both by. But now Tyler Anderson is worried. He's got to get by this other driver. They just stacked up the grid. Oh, is this happening already? And there goes Timothy Bray and Tyler Anderson with Miller in front of them, who's a lapped car, who's definitely going to get out of the way. But who's he going to block in the process? Looks like Timothy is using Miller to his advantage. Oh, and yeah, he does. He gets by. What a move from Timothy Bray, as Tyler Anderson was forced into a position he didn't want because of a lapped car. He tries to take the outside, but Timothy Bray keeps it defensive. Oh no! Into the turn one. This is it. Was that the final lap? I think that was, folks. I'm gonna have to go back and look at somebody. That was the white flag waving? That is the white flag waving. It is close. Tyler Anderson retakes his position over the start straight finish. Like, this could be palpable. Timothy Bray had it. And if that was the checkered flag, he would have definitely made it through. But just by the skin of his teeth, being overtaken back into turn one, that is really unfortunate. As we have Todd Malik was P10, overtaken by Chris Chitterling, P10. And Patrick Gannon just showing us a really fantastic race. Calculated as one can be. He's about to take that checkered flag for P1. As he crosses the line. What a finish for Patrick Gannon. Led most of the race and finishes winning the race. Paolo Langer is going to be taking P2 after sitting in P4 for most of the race. Joey Jr. is also going to be taking his spot. Tyler Anderson and Timothy Bray, who's it going to go to? In the end, is he going to try to make a move on the outside? Unable to make things happen. That is where it's going to shape up. That is Joshua Grosso in P4, Eddie Layton in P5, Tyler Anderson in P6. Fantastic finish for the driver. Timothy Bray in P7, Will Kofi in P8. Eric Rodriguez is going to finish with nobody around him in P9. Chris Chitterling is also going to finish with P10, with Todd Malik just behind there in the background. And P11 for him. Zachary Bryant, closest driver around him, is about 8 seconds back, so he's going to finish at P12. Aubrey Kundal, who's, Colin Luckhurst is 15 seconds back. I think he has this for P13. Colin Luckhurst in P14 with a 7-7 gap to Chris Lambert coming down the hill. And Andrew Korostecki just behind as well. That's going to be P15 and a P16 from these drivers. Kyle Granger moving out of the way there. He's going back up the hill. It looks like he has maybe one more lap to go. Gary Schilling in P18. Ricky Burrows in P19. Kerry Carroll in P20. Steve McAllister in 21. Sean Hamilton in P22. Miller Darajo in P23. Ryan Avila in P24. Alex Carver. It's unfortunate for what happened to that driver, but he's going to be finishing in P25 after having a really good bout. David Gauntlet in P27, Austin McGill in 28, and Chris Wheaton in 29. And Joshua Gross is probably going to be really celebrating that one, as he started in P13 down to P4. And that's it, everybody. Everyone's taking the checkered flag. And Josh Grosso, whoa, almost makes it after doing the jump. I think that's the highlight of the race right there. And it looked like Eddie Layton also took the jump. So we'll take another look and see here. Yeah. He almost made it straight. Almost. And just like science, finds himself in the gravel. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody, for the Broken Ring Racing League GT3 series on Sundays, almost every Sunday. You could join the Discord to find out more information, or if you like the F4 and want to do some open wheel racing, we do have the F4 League on Tuesdays. But that's everything for you. Oh, presented by ANSE3D Racing. Appreciate you guys joining us, and have a good evening.